So for this episode, we're gonna do a flank steak. So I went to the store today. I got got a grass-fed flank steak from my local co-op. And the thing that you're gonna want to do before you sear it is take it out of the fridge. So you want to sort of let it come to as close to room temperature as you possibly can, and then you're gonna want to pat dry any moisture from the meat itself, because you don't want any of that moisture to get in to interfere with the searing of the meat. So then once your pan is hot, I'm going to go ahead and grease it up with some oil or bacon grease or whatever you want. And so what I'm doing here is once I put that oil down, I'm going to come over and I'm going to salt up my flank steak here. So I'm going to hold it up, get a nice even spread.
Now, is that just plain salt, Nick?
So one of the things I do, Troy, is I have a little salt jar next to my oven or next to my stove. I mix about 1 part of kosher coarse salt, and so 4 parts kosher salt to 1 part pepper. So I have a mix.
Okay, nice. Would you ever add like garlic or any other seasoning in there for that case, or not really?
Yes, that is a possibility. If I'm kind of old school in some regards, where like it just depends on what I'm seasoning, right? Like if I'm going to be seasoning up a soup that I've already used garlic in, I don't know if I really want garlic salt or garlic powder in there. I'm not going to say it's going to alter the taste too much, but I just want to make sure that like when I'm balancing flavors that I'm hitting the fat, acid, salt, and sweet.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure so the pure salt in that is what I'm really kind of going for.
Yeah.
Even pepper's a little bit cheating. So when you come to your cast iron pan, when you know it's ready to sear, you're gonna sort of see it shimmer, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take my meat and I'm gonna throw it down on the pan. And when I throw it down on the stove, you want to make sure that they're not touching. You want plenty of space in between. So as that sears, look at that. Beautiful.
That looks good, man.
I've got a judge over here. Jamie's cooked so many steaks. I'm like, I cannot mess this up right now.
I'm not judging. I have a flank steak marinating right now, so.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. So we've got a good sear going on. Next thing I want to do is if you can kind of see, you want to try to get all 4 sides seared up to try to lock in that moisture. So if you can see that this part was kind of red, I want to kind of give it a nice sear. So the thing about searing is you want to try to lock in the moisture as much as you possibly can. So searing as many sides as you possibly can, so that when you actually let it rest, the juices don't come pouring out of the meat. So
Now, Nick, what is your preference on like how it's done? So like our family is like medium rare. When I grew up as a kid, it was like the rarest piece of steak possible. Like my dad would say, if I could just pull this thing off of the cut and just eat it straight up, still bleeding. Like my dad was that type of
so
dad.
just knock the hooves off and put it on my plate.
Oh, man,
You know what,
that is how he loves his steak, man. Just barely cooked at all. And so I'm just curious, like as a chef you are, what are your preferences, or what are your what do you usually cook with or cook it like?
I'm usually right around medium rare, like right at medium rare, like no higher. I know I've got a beef farmer on me watching over me, so if I go above that, I'm gonna be
They all should be in the medium rare, closer to the rare side.
yes,
That's
close
just
to
me.
the rare side.
They got to be
That
warm.
being said, one of the ways you can kind of there's a couple ways you can tell when the meat is at your temperature. You get a meat thermometer. Another thing you can do is I like to press on the meatiest part of the steak. And if it has a little bit of buoyancy, then I know I'm kind of right where I want to be. If it's really firm, I probably overcooked it. And you can't really overcook it, or you can't go back and undercook it. So I always like to aim under, because when I take this off the pan and I seared all 4 sides and I let it rest, it's still going to cook like a little bit. So I'm going to pull it off, and then I'm going to go ahead and start on my egg, because I'm going to let that steak rest.
Hey, Nick, when you were searing there, did you have your burner on at all, or was it already heated to a temperature and you just let it cook?
So as far as the I forgot to turn my my nonstick on, so that's why I'm going to have to stall. But no, the burner was on the whole time for the cast iron. Yeah, so this is kind of where we're at here as far as like our finished product. I know it's really tempting to want to cut into it and taste it, but I'm going to tell you that patience pays dividends in this sense, because like I said, you're really letting, like, the meat is still sort of cooking inside right now, and the moistures, all that stuff is going to help with the taste of the meat when we're done here. So Troy, what's your favorite brunch recipe?
Well, I'm big on sprouts, so it would typically be for me actually eggs over easy with sprout and avocado would be my go-to. The boys love breads and stuff, right? So Trevin's is going to be something similar to that, but will be a bagel probably underneath it, as well as Tiff and Kellen.
The bagel man himself, huh?
Yeah, the bagel man. I swear. I was telling Nick, yeah, Trevin is just always asking for bagels. So
That's funny.
All right, so I've got the egg going. Give it a little salt on top. So what I might go ahead and do while I wait for that to get done is I'm going to go ahead and slice up my flank steak. So when I'm slicing up flank steak, I want to make sure that I'm cutting against the grain. So if you can kind of see, whoa, I just spilled all over. So there's a piece of the flank steak where you can see the grain coming this way. So I don't want to cut this way. I want to cut against it. So a little bit of a pro tip there, right, Jamie?
Yes.
Ooh, I think I got her just right, Jamie.
It looks beautiful from what I can see.
I love how you're handling that, Nick. It's like you have a filleted fish on there, and you're just like you're laying your fillets out.